the trenches trying to get it out the mud. Looking up the killers trying to figure who I was.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're finally fucking here. We did it. We made it. Episode 1, the Breakdown Podcast. Hosted by myself, Steve Fabrizio, and to my right, John Rothstein 2.0. It's Benjamin Allen. You see it on the sweatshirt. We don't make this stuff up. Today we're going to be talking a little college hoops. Talk about the tournament. Talk about some of our favorite parts. Some of our favorite players. We're going to dive in a little bit into breaking down next year. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Originally, we were going to look at my favorite player to watch from this year's tournament was Johnny Juzang from UCLA. After watching what they were able to do, bring that first four team into the Final Four, something special. Unfortunately, that's not ready for today. However, we still get to talk about hoops because guess what? Pass doesn't go away, so we get as much as we want. So I guess I'll just jump over to you. If you were to pick one team that was your favorite team to watch during this tournament, who do you think it was?
It's tough because I feel like the most obvious two answers would be UCLA and Gonzaga. Obviously Gonzaga, team-wise and player-wise, they're the most captivating, and then UCLA making that Cinderella run from the first four, only team to do it since, well, all the way to Final Four from the first four, only team to do it since VCU 10 years ago.
I think that was the most impressive part of it to me because obviously Baylor and Gonzaga, we kind of knew that was going to be the end to an extent, but we didn't know how the hell we were going to get there. And I think it's safe to say that nobody really thought we were going to get there with them leading the way. And I think they slowly but surely started to become the storyline as we kept going. People were starting to look at, where's Gonzaga going to do? What's Gonzaga going to do? Then they slowly started to shift their focus, like, what's UCLA about to do? Yeah. And I think that was the most impressive part to me because after they got, in my opinion, we watched this game together. BYU, UCLA, shit show.
Yeah.
Shit show.
Yeah.
I could not stand that big lanky bastard, Matt Harms, throwing shots up at the rim, throwing spaghetti at the wall, stealing with sticks. It was a nightmare. They got past them pretty easily. Abilene Christian, I'm not talking about that game because that one gave me basically a damn near heart attack. But after that, they started to beat some really quality teams.
I think, for me at least, UCLA's first win might have been their most impressive in the first four because they were down for the majority of that game against a good Michigan State team. And not just a good Michigan State team that had just beaten, prior to coming in, Michigan, Ohio State, and Illinois within the span of a week and a half. So they were a good team, solid players, Aaron Henry, obviously the younger Hauser brother, Joey. But
it's just a program that wins, too. Yeah. You can never count them out. So I think that was one of the most impressive parts of it.
Cronin did an unbelievable job, and now they're looking like they might be the favorite for next year. So.
I know. That's the crazy thing. All of a sudden, they started grabbing guys left and right, recruits and stuff like that. They got a top 10 guy in Peyton Watson coming in. Will McClendon's another top ESPN 100 kid. They got transfers. They got a lot of guys coming back. Juzang's going to the league, but yeah.
I think Cronin obviously, this is next year's going to be his either third or fourth season with UCLA, but his job, the way he's been able to develop this roster has been
absolutely
unbelievable. He got Juzang from Kentucky, found all these kids. Tiger Campbell was originally committed to DePaul.
Hawkeye's just a freak too.
Yeah, finding guys like that, diamonds in the rough.
I've never been a UCLA guy at all, really. But the way that he's been able to shift the culture, that was kind of going downhill for a while. Yeah. They're starting to pick up and really become a fun team to watch. And they were doing it in the regular season too, not just the tournament.
Definitely.
They were getting good wins.
Definitely.
And what we saw during the tournament ended up being a hell of a conference, even though we didn't really notice it until the end.
And I know there's no March Madness last year, but you could start to see the signs at the end of the prior season when I remember UCLA went on this tear of winning like 9 out of 10 games, and all of a sudden they put themselves in a potential being a tournament team after they had a losing record. So he's done an unbelievable job turning it around. And as we talked about developing the roster for next season, he's already got big man grad transfer from Rutgers, Miles Johnson. He's really doing a ridiculous job.
They're going to be coming together, I think. Yeah. Well, I think we also, if we're going to talk about them, we have to talk about the team that knocked them off. Because that Gonzaga team's not going anywhere next year either.
No, they're not.
That's the scariest thing to me. And obviously, they were the story all year in the regular season. But it wasn't just because they had big names. The way they played was so fun to watch too, because it was such a selfless. You never know who was going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was my favorite part. I'm such a junkie for moving the ball and playing together, and I mean everyone can score on their own. You know, like they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They beat teams by just beating them up here. You know, playing smart.
Arguably my favorite part about March Madness is that, the entire season, as you mentioned before, everyone knew it was going to be Gonzaga versus Baylor, and the entire year, I was telling everyone Gonzaga's going to win it. Don't think twice. Pick Gonzaga. And I ended up fading myself and choosing Illinois. And look how that turned out.
Yeah,
and then Gonzaga ends up not even winning it. So that's why this March Madness is you really never know.
You never know. And that's the fun. That's the most fun part about it for me. And I think this was a great tournament too. Yeah. And it was so nice, especially after a year where we didn't get it. Yep. And a similar theme to not just basketball but for life after this year. You just appreciate it so much more when it's been taken away from you. And it's safe to say, like we were watching it here together with a bunch of our friends. Yeah. We had 2 TVs going. We had the whole shebang, you know, the whole shebang. And we were doing it. It was fun, entertaining basketball from start to finish. A lot of games that were great. What were some of your favorite games if you were to go back from this year?
Oh man, I mean, obviously, the first one that comes to mind is the Gonzaga UCLA game in the Final Four.
Yeah,
sub shot. I haven't watched a game quite like that in recent memory.
I don't know if I've ever seen a game
like that. Maybe never. The only thing that obviously I can think of that comes close is the 2016 national title game with the Chris Jenkins shot. But even then, the overall quality of basketball in the UCLA Gonzaga game was top tier the entire time.
Of course. I agree.
And like you think about, like Suggs hit that shot, but like the whole play with the block and the pass before, like it was just nonstop great basketball.
Yeah, I felt myself saying that was the play of the game at least half a dozen times, and it just kept getting topped, which is special. Like that does not happen every day.
And,
you know what I mean?
The Alabama UCLA game was another.
That was fun. Well, I know you like that team a lot.
Yeah, I did.
That was a fun team to watch too. So versatile, so aggressive defensively, but they weren't overly. Right, they were sound. They just played the right way. They just played the right way. It was real testament to their program as well.
I think I already know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. What was your biggest disappointment? Biggest team that disappointed you in this March Madness?
It's not fair because it's 2 games and they happen back to back, and so my morale just actually really 3 games in a row, to be honest with you. BYU, UCLA. I had BYU, hurt my heart a little bit. Then we go to Texas. I had Texas in the Final Four. Hit the road, gone. And then we get out of the round of 64 and game 1 of 32. Here's Illinois, my national champion, my IO and Big Kofi just hanging around. Nope, gone. The balding bastard Krutwick just doing his damn thing. Although that one didn't make me that mad though, because I felt like they really beat them.
No, yeah.
The first 2, I just feel like the teams that lost beat themselves a little bit. Because BYU, like I said, that lanky boy Matt Harms throwing 7-3, throwing shots up at the rim left and right. It was Barcelo by himself, I felt like, and UCLA was just picking them apart. Texas Abilene, I'm gonna go with that one. That was my least favorite because I had them going to the Final Four. I had known nothing about that. And what's really annoying is you kept saying, I don't know, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, screw it, bro. I just watched them win the Big 12, and I was like, they got this. They're gonna be fine. They have so much talent, they have a decent amount of depth. Versatile defenders. Nope. Rock fight, and they just couldn't throw a pebble in the ocean, and it sucked.
It's another thing that's fucked up about March Madness is, as he said, I was telling him the entire week, do not take Texas to the Final Four. They are going to lose to Abilene Christian, and me and him even had a friendly wager on it, but I ended up taking Texas all the way to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or some shit like that. I guess if there's one thing, just go with your fucking gut. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, that's safe to say that's the most important part of it.
That Abilene Christian Texas game was the biggest shit show
ever. Oh my god.
Ever.
And it hurts because I had not even heard of a single player on their roster. And that's another beautiful part about it.
Cole, baby.
Yeah, right? And Texas, you had guys that, they got 3 or 4 guys going to play either pro or trying to go in the NBA right now. Abilene Christian's they were geeked, they just won a tournament game, you know what I mean? They were projected to go pretty far, so it kind of hurts.
Yep.
And that fact. But I mean, obviously it was a tournament, was a blast. I had a lot of fun to watch it. A lot of great players. The guy that stuck out to me, one player that really did the damn thing, Oral Roberts, Lil Max.
Ace-Miss, yeah.
Just such an incredible, he led the country in scoring, we all know that, but it's safe to say Oral Roberts didn't get a whole lot of national TV time. So we can see these stats all we want, but I'm like, is he playing in a bad conference? Is he just able to get shots off at a high clip? Like, what is it? And you watch him play, and the kid's just got such a feel for the game. And he uses his size really well. He's a little bitty guard. Can't be over 6'1".
No, yeah.
And he just finds the bottom of the net wherever he wants. And it was I mean, you take down a good Ohio State team, who I also had in the Final Four.
I mean, how good was his teammate O'Banner too?
Oh yeah, they were a special one too.
I think absolutely ridiculous.
You could argue that was one of the biggest surprises of the tournament too.
Yeah,
obviously.
And I mean, everyone was kind of. I feel like that game was that type of thing where everyone agreed and understood that Oral Roberts was a threat, but no one really took him that seriously.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden it just
they're like, oh, watch out for this one.
And then all of a sudden they're
within
within one possession against Arkansas in the Sweet 16.
There you go. Literally. It's just, oh man.
Speaking of Arkansas, one of the players from me, I thought was most impressive because obviously Juzang Ridiculous Tournament, everyone knew the talent he had though. Davion Mitchell, obviously his stock went through the roof. But one of the dudes that impressed me the most was Jalen Tate on Arkansas. The dude was just every single play, he was all over the place for them.
Strongest skinny guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, defensively, and his ability, it's almost like, you know how Jalen Brunson, one of his biggest assets is that he's so good in the post. He's able to back down a guard and just take him to the post and score. Tate's incredible at that too, and he doesn't have the body to do it. He doesn't have the size to do it.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing because Brunson's built like a brick shithouse.
Exactly.
Like he's a big boy,
exactly.
And he can go with either hand really well. This kid has long sleeve shirts on that are like you can see the air in between his arm and his t-shirt, and he's just like boom boom. It's because he has tremendous footwork, tremendous use of his body, and just great touch.
He really has. Yeah,
you can't defend that combo.
The body control as well is really impressive.
No, that was a fun team to watch because I didn't really get to watch them a whole lot until the tournament started. Yeah. They gave a little scare against Colgate too. Yeah. That was one of the underrated fun ones.
Arkansas was always had a fun game because you knew regardless of what the score was that points were going to go up in a hurry by the pace of the game.
Yeah.
But talking about the most disappointing teams or games, obviously the Illinois one was a heartbreaker, but I had to just laugh at myself for
honestly, that's just it's March.
Other than that, I was pretty upset about the Purdue one, but my friend Brendan Anderson told me to take North Texas.
Oh yeah. Hey Beb.
Shout out Beb. Anyways, other than that, I hate Syracuse. I really hate Syracuse, and every single year they're a double-digit seed. I'm like, no way they do it again. There's no way they go back to Sweet 16 and did it again.
Well, I think
so. I'm done. I'm done.
You're done. You can't.
Boeheim, may or may not have killed a guy. We don't know. A little fishy there, but
it set up the storyline perfectly for Buddy to get after it. And just when you try to get rid of the Boeheim try to get rid of others.
And now
bring
one more in. Jimmy.
Here he comes.
Jimmy
You
Boeheim.
can't get rid of them. They literally will never stop. It's.
Oh my God. That's gonna be a constant callback on this show. I think it's just the Boeheim slander.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's probably gonna kill somebody else before this episode's out, but it'll be fine.
Other than that, Tennessee was. Not even because I thought that. I didn't even think Tennessee. I thought that they were going to lose to Oklahoma State in the first round. But the reason why they had the most disappointing performance to me is that they never even felt like they were in that game. Oregon State controlled right from the jump.
Right away.
They couldn't do anything about Roman Silva. Ethan Thompson looked like the best player on the floor when you had two potential lottery picks with Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. And they just looked like they didn't even want to be there. And so that one was definitely the most disappointing.
Yeah, definitely. Another team that, I mean, I know you're a junkie, but there's not a shot that I saw them play one time before this tournament. I didn't see them play at all, and I had no idea, but really anyone about them. So, and everyone was like, oh, take the 12-5, the 12-5. They like that one. I was like, no way. Fuck that.
I think...
right out of the gym.
Right out of the gym. I think, like, a big thing is, like, everyone was, like, hyping up the Big Ten all year, Big Ten, and then look at the damage the Pac-12 did in this tournament when they didn't get any respect coming in. Every single team made it to the Sweet 16 that they had here. So
more disappointment came in due to the Pac-12 for me, and my favorite team to watch this year, I think, was probably Iowa, because Luka Garza made it cool to be goofy and white, which I'm really good at as well. So I really appreciated watching them play. And they had a pretty good win in round one, but then Oregon obviously didn't even get to play, and here they come in their first game of the tournament, just wax them.
The best
wax them. And it was really, really impressive.
The best shout out for the goofy white kids was the two brothers on Eastern Washington.
Oh my
just
God.
frying Kansas.
Yeah, definitely.
Both put up 30. I was like, this is fantastic to watch.
No, I know.
Just hilarious.
Yeah, their hair looks like a batch of pubes, but they put the ball in the hoop against one of the best teams in the country.
One of the better defensive with Marcus Garrett.
One hell of a program.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, no,
incredible.
That was one of my more fun games to watch.
Definitely.
And then right after that, back to back with USC. Dominating Kansas. I hadn't seen a game like that in a long time. Evan Mobley looked unbelievable.
Everyone was kind of, I mean, everyone's known about Evan Mobley. He's probably the most talked about freshman in the country besides Cade. And he proved in that game, for sure. You know what I mean? Everyone was like, oh, go watch this kid in California, go be 7'1", 7'2", put the ball in the hoop, shoot the three. He plays the NBA game. And he played the college game, and he waxed them.
Yeah.
Clean off, yeah.
He really did.
All the hair just, it was incredible.
I think one of the fun things this year is obviously Cade's probably going to be the number one pick next year. It's going to be, there's a lot of options, but there's been a recent trend of the top recruit that comes in of not making the NCAA tournament. Just off the top of the head, we saw with Fultz going to Washington. Didn't get to see him in March. Ben Simmons at LSU. Didn't get to see him in March. They had a losing record. So I think it was nice. It was nice to see Cade, Evan Mobley, and Suggs, all three of them potentially could be 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
All playing in the tournament and playing very well.
Yeah, so I was going to say not only playing, but playing at a really high level.
Yeah. So I feel like this tournament was like one of the ones that, because we missed last year, it felt like it had everything.
Yeah.
You had the 15 going to Sweet 16 for the first time since Dunk City. You had the first time in 10 years the team from the first four has made it all the way to the Final Four with UCLA. You had Illinois getting knocked out second round. You had an undefeated team make it all the way to the title. Lose there, I just feel it was.
You had one, like we said before, we kind of knew how it was going to get there, but it was just we had no idea how they were going to do it. We knew who was going, we had no idea how, and it definitely it didn't make up for it because it hurts to not have, but I'd argue that it did its damn best to try to. You know what I mean? Definitely. It was pretty special.
Definitely.
Pretty special. Jump into next year, right? Take a look at some of the more interesting part of the top 25 poll. Again, this is courtesy of the AP top 25 poll. Right away, what jumps off the page, UCLA number 1. That's pretty interesting to me because you're again, we talked about before. They built a tremendous culture. They're on the up and up. They have a couple good transfers. Their best player's gone, probably. Right? We don't know quite yet, but I'd say he's gone. I love not a tremendous recruiting class, technically in the class of 2021, but there's still some pretty notable freshmen coming. There's some pretty quality teams.
They got Watson, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm saying in general, 2021. Yeah. But I'm saying, why do you think they're number 1?
I think if they get Juzang back.
If they get Juzang back, I could understand.
And you basically keep your starting 5 of a team that was just in the Final Four. Even though Gonzaga, obviously keeping all 2, they're losing more. So I understand, and then obviously we spoke about before, adding Miles Johnson, the 7-footer from Rutgers, who's he's a 22-year-old kid. He's been around the block. He knows
time or two.
Knows what he's doing. Knows how to play.
Very much so.
But it's just the additions of like you still got guys off the bench like David Singleton, Jules Bernard, Nwuba, Kyman, and mid-season last year he goes and gets Mac Etienne and says come early. He starts playing. Now you got him coming back next year.
I'm a big fan of him.
They're just one of the deeper teams I see. You can play 12 guys with this team next year. So
for sure. It makes me nervous to throw them at 1 because to the common person it might just seem like a recency bias kind of thing. I agree. And everyone's going to jump right on top of that.
Also very true.
That one scares me a little bit. I mean, we'll have to see. I think Juzang coming back is by far the biggest part.
100%. It completely relies on that. But regardless, they'll still be a top 10 team preseason. But if he comes back, they'll probably land at 1. I still personally think Gonzaga will be the number 1 team in the regular season next year. Don't necessarily think they'll win, but getting obviously Chet Holmgren, if Timmy comes back,
you get the number 1 player in the country coming in.
Yeah,
you throw him with who arguably was the best maybe not the best center in college basketball, but damn near.
Damn near.
Damn near. And he turns it on when the lights were brightest, which
Yeah.
was the most impressive part to me. And two guys who you can interchange 4 and 5.
Yep.
They're tremendous passers, facilitators, playmakers. And then when they need to put their ball back to the basket, they can. Holmgren's pretty good off the dribble, but Drew, we saw his footwork, especially in that the Final Four, not necessarily Final Four, but that UCLA game and throughout that whole tournament.
Yeah. They're scary. Their interior efficiency field goal percentage is going to be out of this world with Timmy and Chet because I mean, obviously Drew Timmy, close to 70% around the rim. He doesn't really miss it. Chet's 7 whatever with a
7-2 with a handle and gets to the rim and shoots a three
ridiculous
at a high level.
wingspan. So
it's going to be I think he's a really good fit for that program. Obviously, definitely. We see them continue their track of winning, and they've just been doing the damn thing for the last couple of years now. But they always bring in these guys who are not necessarily the craziest athletes in the world, but really skilled, high motor, intense, fun guys to watch.
And another point about them is obviously everyone knows the Nemhard kid from Florida. They got him as a transfer.
I think they call him Andrew.
Played fantastic for them this year. Look, he didn't get the spotlight because they had so many other incredible players, but he was incredible for them the entire year, and they just went and got Rasir Bolton from Iowa State, who no one really knows about because they just went 2-20. But he gave the Big 12 a lot of problems this year, and it's going to be interesting to see him paired up with them.
He kept them in a lot of games.
Yeah, he did.
He kept them in a lot of games. He really did. I think I have to jump to Ohio State.
Yeah,
I have to do it.
You're jonesing.
I'm jonesing because right before this, I learned that Kyle Young is coming back, which I did not know. Kyle Young is probably my favorite guy to root for.
Junkyard dog.
Yeah. He's a 6'7" power forward center. You can throw whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter. The guy will just he's Dennis Rodman scaled down a bit. He just works his ass off. He hits people. He runs hard. He has this intensity on his face the whole time he plays, like he just stabbed his cousin. And it's incredible. And he does not let off the gas for 1 second. And it's awesome to watch. And so they're bringing back everybody. A 2 seed last year, like we said before. Dwayne Washington. Liddell's coming back, a very talented player. Sue's coming back, very versatile as well. I'm really leaning towards them right now. I'm not going to lie to you. There's something with it. You had a great year in a really talented field. And you're bringing back damn near everybody. And all the guys that really kind of matter. Seth Towns too. They're going to be a fun team. They're going to be a very interesting team to watch.
They have a lot of veteran savvy.
They do.
As you mentioned, Cal Young's 23. This will be his senior year. Suing transferred from Cal. Dwayne Washington will be his senior year. But you got guys like Seth Towns, played at Harvard. When he was a sophomore at Harvard, they went to a game and they played at Kentucky. And I want to say this was 2017, could have been 2018. But I remember Seth Towns goes off and he has 28 and 12. And he ended up being the Ivy League player of the year that year. But he's a guy that this team, they bring off the bench. They have a lot of scary pieces. And then they had this dude, center Joey Bronk, who has played for Indiana and Butler already. So he has Big Ten experience and March Madness experience. But I think one of the big things last year is with Zed Key, he can have some issues offensively, and I think a little more interior help bringing in Joey Bronk is going to be a big addition.
Their freshman class isn't crazy. They got one kid coming in, Malachi Branham.
Yeah, St. Vincent, St.
Mary.
Yeah.
Is it the next LeBron? Probably not.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll find out. And I mean, that's just another wing depth guy that you can seems like he's pretty interchangeable defensively. He's like a good 6'7", 6'8", maybe 6'6". I don't know.
If there are two teams that are kind of, throwing everything at this year, putting all their money,
eggs in one basket.
Yeah, all their eggs in one basket. It's Villanova and Ohio State.
Oh yeah, Villanova too.
Villanova with Gillespie and Jermaine Samuels, both already seniors, both are using an extra year to come back.
Have to.
Now, you're kind of waiting to see Cole Swider's transferring to Syracuse.
That sucks.
But if Robinson Earl decides to come back, which I think is a real possibility, because then they'd have the serious chance to win the whole thing. So
I really think so too.
Yeah,
and you can't bet against Jay Wright.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then March, one of the best coaches in the country,
definitely,
no question. But
I mean, another team, like you said, they're throwing it all in. They're very old. They don't have a crazy recruiting class. Just jumping into this. Number 18 center in the country, Nanana Njoku, his younger brother. I think he has 6 letter ends in his name. know nothing about him. I just think that's fun to mention. I definitely think that's going to be a fun team to watch too.
Yeah.
Just because, they know how to do it. They've done it before.
Yeah.
They've played in big moments. Jermaine, very versatile. Jeremiah, we saw what he can do.
Yeah. And it's
Gillespie's didn't get his true chance to be
exactly,
that senior leader
exactly.
in the tournament.
He gets
so
hurt.
I think it's going to be definitely pretty fun to watch.
I think whenever you see a name, last name Archidiakono, even though it's obviously the little brother on that Villanova roster, they're just always going to be a scary team in March.
Absolutely. It's tough. It lingers in the back of your mind.
Yeah. My personal favorite team coming into next season is there's two. I really like what Alabama is shaping up to be.
Oh yeah.
And I
Definitely.
was anyone that knows me, I was very high on them this year.
Very high.
Big Jelly JQ fan. And I also think Purdue is gonna have
Trevion coming back.
Travion Williams is an absolute beast.
Monster.
Just a monster. I don't know if anyone saw this game during the Big Ten tournament. Me and Steve were watching it together here, and they were playing Ohio State, and the winner goes to the Big Ten championship, and Travion Williams just completely took over in the second half, and I don't remember the final stat line. I think he finished with he had close to 30 with 15 boards, something like that.
That too, yeah.
And I think there was 5 consecutive possessions where he was making post moves with a double team and finishing every single time.
And the thing, it was always it was on both sides, dribble middle, quick. If they didn't bite, he would just spin back. Yep. If they bit, he would just go back. They literally couldn't stop it. Yep. It was impossible. He could do whatever he wanted, and it didn't matter.
When he wants to, he can dominate just about as much as anyone I've seen in a long time.
Anyone in the country at that big spot. It's impressive.
He's very dominant. And then I love this Jaden Ivey kid. He had a little. The best part about Purdue is that I think they had 4 different freshmen win Big Ten Player of the Year, or not year, Player of the Week last year or this past year. Ivy, Zach Edey, the big man I know, won one.
I don't like him. He has Matt Harm syndrome.
Mason Gillis, I'm pretty sure, won one, and then I forget who the last one was, but I'm pretty sure it was 4 different freshmen won the Player of the Week, freshman Player of the Week at one point, which is, they have a lot of depth. Matt Painter is one of my personal favorite coaches in the country.
He does a great job every year.
Every single year he does. It doesn't matter how high people are on them to start the year, he always finds a way to make them like a 5 seed in March.
They just chip away.
Yeah, Stefanovic, knockdown shooter, but my favorite kid on this team is this Mason Gillis kid. He works so hard on the glass. They got a lot of gamers. A lot of gamers.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I want to jump back to Alabama because their recruiting class is disgusting.
Yeah. That's
the thing. They already have a lot of veteran leadership coming back, but J.D. Davidson is probably the most athletic point guard I've seen at the high school level in a long time. They have Namar coming in. They got the big kid, Charles. I don't know. Bidiaco, IMG. Good footwork, great big, another just a great big body. It's gonna be. I mean, it sucks you lose Herb, one of the best players in the country, one of your favorite players. I know that. He was such a fun guy to watch as well. So versatile, did everything for his team. That's so hard to replace, no matter how many guys you bring in. But looking at this roster, it's just name after name after name, and you have to wonder if it's going to be able to translate. I think it will, because they're very well coached.
If I could pick, they are. Oates is unbelievable. But if I could tell the people that watch this one team to tune into as many games as possible next year to be this Alabama team. They have so many good guards that there's been rumors that they might start 4 at the same time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And roll them out with.
You could do it.
Davison, Cornelius Shepard, and Primo. And then bring Damari Burnett off the bench.
You have to, because he can put it in. You need a scorer off the bench too.
Another thing is they have still Jawan Gary and Keon Ellis, both who started games for them at some points last year. They got the Tichopu kid who got hurt, 7-footer French kid, very good. But talking about Herb Jones, Nate Oates almost found himself something similar with this kid Noah Gurley from Furman that we were watching videos of. He's like a 6'9", long, lanky kid, can handle the ball, can shoot it pretty well too.
Dunks and shoots.
Just dunks and shoots. Yeah, so they're going to be a very fast-paced, a lot of highlights, a lot of athleticism. Yeah. So they'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, like you said, you're going to have to tune in, but if you don't, they're going to be all over YouTube.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
The shit they're about to do.
You'll see them on social media.
So it's definitely going to be a fun team to watch. I have to jump quickly to my Blue Devils. because I think they're coming back.
Got to give them.
I think they're coming back, and they're coming back with a vengeance. I think they have arguably the most interesting player coming into their class, Paulo Banchero, because he was at the beginning of his, or at the end of his junior summer. They were all saying he's listed about 6'9", 225. Now they're saying he's around 6'11", 250, and this kid's basically a guard, and he's a 7-footer. He's like Chet with muscle. He puts the ball on the ground. He says, "I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you," and he punches on your head. Get to his pull up. He can shoot the ball. He's so versatile.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're done getting guys, but they have 4. I think they're going to be done. But they have a team with not a ton of guys coming back, but the guys that they had a tough season. Bringing in some new faces, keeping a couple veteran guys to help lead. Coach K does his damn thing, regardless if you like him or not. He does. And I'm really excited to see what happens because that's my team. Those are my guys. You'll hear it a lot if you continue to listen. You probably won't after this, but maybe you will. It's going to be very interesting to see how this team unfolds because you bring Jeremy back. You got another guard in Trevor Keels from Virginia, who's a big, bulky guy, a little sauce to his game, a little more meticulous, very aggressive. AJ Griffin's just a freak athlete too.
Yeah, he is.
They have Joey Baker's coming back and shoot that damn ball. He can shoot it. We'll see. I don't know. Obviously I'm rooting for him, but I really think they have a strong case to do it.
Steve could be Joey Baker right now.
Well, that's not saying much.
Do not get it twisted.
Yeah, that's not a crazy thing to say at all. God forbid I can hit an open 3, but yeah, hopefully less acne. National champion.
Oh man.
Off the top of your head. You don't have that crystal ball in front of you, but you got a little rock. That was stupid.
Looking through.
Fuck it.
Looking through. There's a lot of. I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry
as people make it seem.
I'm not going to lie to you. One team that we were talking about earlier that was very disappointing for you this year that I think makes a Final Four is Texas.
Interesting.
Chris Beard, a lot of people thought that he was going to stay at Texas Tech, got offered a lifetime deal. You have to understand, he built that culture in Lubbock, Texas, from the ground up, made it what it is.
Absolutely.
And made them into a contender every single year. They were never supposed to be able to get transfers like Mac McClung. Mm-hmm. Like, they were never supposed to get recruit, even though Namar Burnett transferred. He was never.
It was a football school.
Yeah,
it was a football school.
He built that. He completely built that. Jarrett Culver in the lottery. Like, did an unbelievable job there. He took this job with the full knowledge, knowing if I have the resources of Texas, there's no stopping me. And he's convinced Ramey and Andrew Jones both to come back. And then you get transfers. Askew from Kentucky, who I don't think's all that great, but still.
Yeah.
You get Christian Bishop from Creighton and Timmy Allen from Utah.
I love Bishop.
Dylan Disu from Vanderbilt. I mean, he's done
Transfer City.
Unbelievable job getting transfers. And supposedly people are saying he's not done yet. So, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, they're gonna be a problem next year, but
I'm gonna have to jump Ohio State, I think. Just off the top of my head, like I said before, all those guys coming back. I'm Team Kyle till I bleed. So I bleed out on the sidewalk because apparently that's what's going to happen to my death for some reason. I'm going to Ohio State. I think they played the right way this year. They had a lot of fun. A little disappointing again. They're going to have that chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to be ready to go.
One disappointment. Who do you think
this year?
Yeah.
Disappointment is probably not the right word. But UCLA, I don't think will be a number 1. I think they'll find themselves in the middle of the tournament when it comes between a 6 and like a 9, somewhere like that. I think this is pretty high. I don't think Juzang comes back, and I think they got a lot of good guys coming, but I don't know if they're going to be as tough as everybody says. But I hope they prove me wrong because they were a lot of fun this year.
I would agree with that. I don't think that they will do what Gonzaga did this year coming on preseason 1. I don't think that they'll end at 1. I think if I had to pick a team that is rated a little too high for me right now, it's the University of Maryland. Turgeon's done a good job getting Fats Russell and Kudus Wahab as transfers, but you have Ayala Wiggins and Dante Scott back. They're going to be very good defensively. They'll guard. Yeah. I don't think that they'll be able to score with the rest of the bunch, and especially in a Big Ten that's bringing back. I mean, in the projected rankings right now, you got Ohio State 4, Purdue 5, Michigan 7. Yeah, I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete with top guys, but
Well, we will see.
We'll find
see.
out.
I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, me too.
Well, folks, that's it. Episode 1 in the books. Steve Fabrizio.
Benjamin Allen
We'll see you next time.
on the Breakdown Pod.